If you want to photograph wildlife, you have to go where the wildlife is. It's hard work, but it's never dull. You gotta be ready for anything. In a way, you're a hunter, but you're hunting for
Time to discover anything is possible and dreams to uncover.
If you come with us,
We are the future. Everything is possible and dreams we can nurture.
when you come with us,
Call it places, call it spaces, call it things to do. Call it riding, call it flying, stick a feather in your shoe.
call it crazy, call it funny, call you cheer a pony,
Call it you,
call it me.
call it macaroni.
This is a national elk refuge. It was established in 1912. Now, the elk will come down out of here in the fall in a herd. They'll drift in, sometimes one, two at a time, sometimes a good-sized herd. There'll be what they call an old lead cow. There'll be an old cow that's experienced. She's been to the refuge before. That'll be way out in front. She'll walk along and she'll sniff the air and she'll watch. If that old cow gets suspicious, doesn't look good to her, they'll turn around and back they'll go. If elk are that wary, you can see what kind of problems you can have trying to get pictures, because you're a threat. You don't plan on hurting that elk. They don't know that, right? So you see, we're really going to have to work to get some of these pictures. You want to stop here for just a second? Over the years now.
When Johnny, Patience, and I first arrived in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, we found out that one of the first things we were going to do was photograph elk. I'm Matt. We were going to be with a person named Wes Marks, who was a natural wildlife photographer who lives here and who has had a lot of experience with the wildlife around this area. We've all had some experience with photography back in New York in our school. Although we've had some experience, this is a new experience trying to go after wildlife.
For some trumpeter swans, they're difficult, and we'll get Rocky Mountain sheep.
Which one will be the hardest to find, do you think?
Well, I don't think any of them are going to be particularly hard to find. They may be very hard to get to and photograph. Probably Rocky Mountain sheep would be the toughest of all.
How do you know where to look for the animals?
I think probably what we'll do, if this weather, you can see how overcast it is, you can't see the mountains now. But if this weather improves, we've got an airplane up here at the airport, and we'll probably fly that. Kids, right here, the first peak is called Tiwi-Nut. It's an Indian name. The middle one is the Middle Teton. What do you think the big one's called? Okay, that's right.
When we went up in the plane with Wes, he was driving us all around. I thought the scenery was real beautiful, and he was telling us about some of the places that we were going to be taking pictures of or going to.
Pretty rugged mountains, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you climbed the Grand Teton?
I sure did, one time.
Oh, man. How long did it take you?
2 days. But I had a 42-pound pack of movie equipment on my back. Okay, now we're turning back over Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole is a valley that's 50 miles long and 8 miles wide. Now, if you look out the left side...
Everything looks really different. Like the big, gigantic snowfields look like kind of like a blanket with a few wrinkles here and there. And like whole islands have like shadows in the mountains, like the shadows of the mountains could reach miles and miles and miles over the plains. It was really beautiful.
Don't try to walk up there. See it up here? Okay, there's quite a few elk. Just sneak right around there by the end of the flag. That's far enough. Now you see the elks have gone up there. They may either come back and join this herd, or they come back this way. Now you don't have to worry about them running over you, because they're pretty shy. If they come this way, they'll split and go both sides of us. Okay, they're going to come this way. Stand very still, kids.
I went trigger happy. I couldn't stop taking pictures. When I saw the elk, I would take 3 pictures of the same elk just because it was so beautiful. And with the mountains in the background and all the snow and their antlers so beautiful, I couldn't stop.
Nothing to it to start. But the most important thing that I want you to know is how to stop it. The reason we'll be using these is that we'll be going where there's deep snow. Sometimes the snow will be, 4 or 5 feet deep. And we'll be going long distances. Some places we'll use skis, snowshoes, but to get there, we'll use a snowmobile. And here's the brake. All you got to do is squeeze that and it'll really stop. And it'll stop quick. I want you to ride with your feet solid on the machine and both hands on the handlebars. This is your throttle, this is your brake, and you squeeze that brake and it'll stop. We don't want you heading towards trees. You'll never ride them without these helmets.
What happens if you, like, slide off the back? Will the machine stop?
The machine will stop. If you see you're going to fall off, just go ahead and roll. Try and fall, not get hurt. Don't worry about falling off. Okay?
How close can we get to the animals?
Well, it depends on the animals. We don't ever want to get close enough where we spook them. Because it's heavy snow. The animals have a tough enough time in the winter without being driven by us or something that they're not accustomed to. Johnny, you're the first victim. You get on with me and we'll take a little test run and see how you can handle it, okay? Okay. Now these will probably take your ears off, but tuck them in. Good. Now remember, where's the brake? Okay, where's the throttle? Both feet up on here. Okay, give her a little gas, a little more. Attaboy.
The thing I enjoyed the most was learning how to drive the snowmobiles and just doing them by yourself, you know, just going along, breezing, and then all of a sudden you just make this sharp turn and go skidding, and you're in your own world.
Now, right in here somewhere, you see this? Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Okay. Take your normal lens. Now, you've got a meter in that camera. I would suggest you take your reading off a shadow area or off this coat.
One neat thing about photography is that 2 people could take the same picture of the exact same thing and the same exposure and everything, but it could turn out differently in the way of how they see it.
There's quite a few moose over here and among the horses.
When I was out there tracking the moose, trying to photograph them, it was very different from like what I expected. Finding one out of 100 miles, I didn't, picture them to be so tame and so common to live with horses.
Move along here and see if you can clear the horses and get some moose shots with your long lenses. Ha! Get out of here. Come on.
They're trying to find a female, and whenever there is food, even if it is dished out by man, they're going to take advantage of it. And in the winter, because of the development of the area, food is kind of sparse. And so they have to go searching elsewhere.
We'll go around and see if we can't get closer by sneaking around, okay? Nobody get in front of me. These moose are nothing to mess with. See the cow and the calf? That's a good shot. I'm going to squeeze off some. That's last spring's calf. Now that mother will be just as dangerous as a bull elk, but particularly when she's got a calf. Now be ready to move, kids. You never know where they're going.
Shot so fast in my life.
This is really beautiful.
I know. I got so many shots. I got like 15 in 3 seconds, something like that. Just snap, snap, roll.
How are you doing? You got getting a hot dog cooked?
Yeah,
Well, while you're cooking those, I got a couple of things to tell you about some wildlife. Bear is the only animal that bends his knees like a man does. You know, when we stand up, our knees bend forward, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all the other animals, the elk, the deer,
They bend backwards.
buffalo, everything, bend the other way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, most of the Indian tribes will not eat bear meat because they feel that since the knees bend the same as a man,
They're the same.
that this bear might be a departed relative,
Oh.
an ancestor. See, come on, I want to show you something with this zoom lens. Now, remember in the airplane the other day you were using the wide angle? We wanted the wide angle, one that covers a real wide. It takes out some of the vibration of the airplane too.
I got a lot of help, and I learned a lot about photography from Wes because I got more practical knowledge than like technical knowledge. I learned how to handle a camera, and I felt, more comfortable with the camera, and I could work quicker with it and more at ease with the camera after I'd worked with Wes.
And I'll lock it on, and then I'll zoom it, and you see how close. Okay, you got it? Ready?
Uh-huh.
Now you just keep watching. What do you think of that?
Oh, wow.
Huh? There's 50 millimeters, 70 millimeter, 90, 120 millimeters. Is that nice tight close up? Get that hot dog in just your face?
Oh, neat.
Well, this is going to be uphill, and we'll be a whole lot better with the snowshoes because we won't fall down so easy and turn around and come back down the hill. Your snowshoes all right, Johnny? How about yours, Patience?
Yeah, they're fine.
Well, here snowshoes will work better because we're going to be climbing. Now, those deer are going to spook a little, and they'll keep climbing the hill, too. We're never going to get to them, but we'll get up where we can use long lenses. See if I can keep the snow out of this lens. You ready? Let's go.
Taking pictures in the snow, usually of the animals at a distance, is very hard. It was like a curtain drawn in between you and the animals so that we couldn't get a very clear shot of them.
A deer can eat a little bit of hay, but not much. Most of the time he has to live on heavier fibers of wood fibers, brush, because his stomach cannot digest the hay. There's not the bacteria in his stomach that'll allow him to digest the hay, so he requires roughage that's much tougher. You can loosen it.
To photograph them in a snowstorm is very hard because your camera's usually in like 2 inches of snow. And it's always frozen, and your hands are cold, and you're trying to do the dial, and you're out of film, and it's hard, but it's fun. If comfort is what you're after, you wouldn't be a wildlife photographer.
That looks like a moose track. Something like that, yeah. Or a deer. Probably. Because you could see the hoof marks. Yeah. It's a lot of fun bushwhacking.
After we got used to the grounds around Jackson Hole and around the area, Wes sent us out on our own and told us, well, why don't you just try and go out on your own and try and take some nice pictures.
I was kind of glad that Wes let us go out on our own, like it was kind of, if we were going to try to prove ourselves and try to do it alone. I was wondering how good the shots would come out.
I got that.
I think a photograph is kind of like capturing a piece of time that you can bring back and relive anytime you really want to. And I think in 10 years, my photographs are going to mean a lot to me. and that I can, relive my childhood, my good times. Some of my bad times too, but it's really worth it. When we're photographing the trumpeter swan today, I was really excited, especially today, because I've been interested in birds before I came to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The trumpeter swan is like one of 3 different species of swan that live in North America, and that is one of the rare ones. I keep a life list of the birds that I've seen in my life, and that was one that I hadn't seen before. That was something to add to the list, so I was excited.
After we learned how to use the snowmobiles, we went out in the wilderness with Wes and tried to stalk some animals.
Let's move along because we got a lot of ground to cover today.
After we had gone across the field, we stopped and got on our cross-country skis, and we started going into the woods. And I thought that it was one of the best ways to get close to nature with really deep snow. Like, snowshoeing's okay, but it's really tiring, and it's kind of jerky. And the cross-country skiing is very smooth, and it's very quiet.
The reason I wanted to come along this ridge was back there a ways I saw some moose track.
You have to have a lot of patience to be a wildlife photographer.
You have to get close if you're going to get good pictures, and quietly sneak on them and get close enough to get the pictures you want. There's more of a thrill involved in sitting off with a long lens and firing away like someone with a rifle.
He should be in here somewhere. There, see? Right next to the tree. We'll get some shots. Okay, he's getting up. That's a cow and a calf. See, that's backlit with that water. Doesn't that look pretty with the sun backlighting the water? We'll see if we can't work closer to him. Now, I don't think she'll ever come way up here, but I want you kids to be ready on your skis to get out of here.
Then they started wading a little bit in the water, and then they started coming towards us, and I thought that the mother sort of had an idea and says that these guys are staying here too long,
I thought that I was going to get caught. I thought I was going to get ran over or just eaten alive with those skis. Like, I was just trying to break them off and run.
I just kind of prayed and snapped away.
You kids were asking why you had to have those swimming suits in your pocket all week. Take a look up ahead. Okay. Come on down on one if you can. You might as well get in that pool over there. Did you see the pool?
Yeah.
You guys want to be wildlife photographers and you hadn't even noticed that pool over there?
Well, it's not very...
Huh? Okay, come on. Just kick your ski off, Johnny.
When we started out stalking animals that day, it was 23 degrees below zero, and I thought that I was never going to be warm again. And then once we got to the pool, I couldn't believe that just a couple hours ago we had been freezing to death, and then now we were swimming, and it just didn't seem to fit. And it actually felt good to take some snow and rub it on your face and throw it at each other.
But how can it be so hot?
Because it's volcanic action underground. It's heated rock, like the geyser basins at Yellowstone,
Oh, yeah.
and places like that. But you're too hot, huh? Huh? You too hot? I'll cool you off. Oh! of those alligators? Here's one of them. Remember I was telling you about the alligators?
No, no,
Huh?
no.
Huh? Him on the hill. Okay, now we gotta be quiet. And move, not too fast. Okay. We'll come up and we'll stop about here. Okay? And we'll get a shot because this is the most wary of all wildlife. This may be as close as we'll get. We don't know. I got a nice shot right here. Did you see that ram? Yeah. Okay, there's one ram. Here, I see one ram in the frame. You see him? Zoom all the way in with your lens. Get as much power as you can. See the ram, the big horns on him? Let's see if we can get closer. Come on.
Out of all the animals that we tried to photograph this last week, I liked the Rocky Mountain sheep the best. They were the hardest to get to, and those were the ones that we put the most energy and the most effort into finding. And also because I loved the way they looked.
We were just looking at the sheep and just thinking how amazing it was that we were so close to such wild animals, and just when you looked around and you saw those mountains, it was like a dream.
I was so interested in the sheep that I got in my own world. I didn't even pay any attention to what Wes was saying or anybody else around me. It was just me, the camera, and the sheep, and it was just our own separate little world.
Photography does make you more aware of the things around you, and it helps you learn how to deal with things. Just getting out from the same old city, just going around to someplace different.
So many new things, like seeing moose and elk and mule deer for the first time and snowshoeing for the first time. It brought a lot of firsts, I guess, into my life. And I think that when you do something for the first time, you remember it. And it's sort of like a reward to just be able to have these memories and pictures.